volunteers to fill that role for the next year or two? Not a motion, I'm just out for discussion. And just, again, for really the main role of president of the council is they will run the meeting instead of the mayor if the mayor is absent for any reason. And if for any reason the mayor is unable to complete his term, president of the council will become mayor and fill out that term. The two primary duties of president of the council.
I think Mark's done a great job. How would you know?
You led a meeting, I thought it was awesome.
Sure you would. I thought you was gonna stick your hand up there, but you went to cover your mouth there.
I'll second the nomination of Mark.
Well, was that a motion, Nathan?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to retain Mark as council president.
A second from Wayne. Any further discussion or objection from the nominee?
When's the next election? That's a question.
Do we do it just on a yearly basis, or is it for like the full 2 years of this council?
Yeah, you'll have 2 more years for the others to be up for reelection.
Hearing no further discussion or objection, all those in favor of appointing Mark as president of the council for the next 2 years, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mark's been outvoted. Congratulations.
You clean your calendar for the next 2 years.
Yeah, I need to start taking more vacations, I guess. All right, that takes care of that item of business. Next up, honestly, kind of another annual tradition for us, and that's an application for the Kansas Airport Improvement Program grant.
We have been applying to this program for many years since the opening of the turf runway in 2019. I know specifically we've been applying for paving and further development out there. So you'll see included another application for that paving of the runway. This last year we were actually awarded this grant for the design work for the paving, and so we're in the midst of that process right now of that project that's been funded mostly in part by KDOT to do that portion of the project. And this current grant is due at the end of the month, and I'd like to propose the city apply again towards this program. The total estimate on the project is $1.8 million. And the program requires a minimum of a 10% match, but the last several years the city has opted to put in 15% as more of a good faith and local match effort towards the project. So that is currently what is figured in here. So the city's portion at 15% would be $282,352. And previously the insurance funds have been earmarked towards airport development, and that current cash balance of that fund is $765,000. So included in the packet is that cost estimate from Lochner. They believe it to be a pretty conservative cost estimate, but they did go back and run the numbers again since the last application just to make sure they felt like the estimate on the project was good. And even though it is a conservative estimate, they do feel like it's a good estimate towards the project. With that, they have also included maps of where that existing runway is and then what is proposed to be paved. They've also built in there 2 different ad alternates depending on if KDOT in funding our application wants to look at adding those on potentially. So adding the taxiways and then the connecting taxiway to the parking apron. So you'll see those are the extra exhibits there in the blue and then the orange as potential alternates to the project. So I'll take any questions you might have, but just looking for council's formal approval to apply to this program.
Not that it really impacts this application, but I'm assuming a lot of those engineering drawings that are part of this project are the outcome of the previous grant we received to pay for the design of.
Some of it had already been done with the initial turf runway design work, but yes, some of this has also come out of the current project as well.
Being awarded the design part of it, the grant, is plus toward this next one, is it not? I mean, otherwise they wouldn't go that far.
I would like to think so. I see it as a plus that we did receive the design work, because my thought is, why would they fund to do the design work if they don't ultimately intend to help fund the
That would be money
paving?
wasted on their part.
Correct. I think it's a stair-step process.
Yeah, the only, I think, tempering in my mind is we know that sometimes there's only so much money to spread around, so they may not be immediately funding the construction, but it definitely seems like it's on the radar at some point to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So might as well, we need to keep applying for it.
And in visiting with the mayor, it looked like on these diagrams, they're considering extending it north.
Correct. We have ultimate distance, the current runway is 3,200 feet, and I believe the ultimate is like 4,200 or 41.
4,000, I think.
4,000, yeah.
Add another 800 feet.
And if you've been out there to the north, part of the original turf runway grading, that's all been graded. But it terminates right now, there's a concrete bar across the end. But it's all graded and flat.
But that oil lease road is where
Yeah.
it stops.
Right. But that grading has already been done with the initial turf project.
That's beneficial to our medical situation if they have to use a fixed wing.
Correct.
I think our current runway is just a little too short for them,
Mhm.
is it not?
And they're not able to land on turf.
No.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, and that's part of our application that we've been putting in each year, is that we'd be able to land fixed wing air ambulance there if we had it.
I honestly think that if, I mean, I know people that fly into Pratt and leave vehicles over there year-round.
Yes. And they,
flying. And I've told them about it, well, you know, Pratt's is paved and yada, yada, yada. They were using cold water. So I feel like with this, might be beneficial to us to see more use.
I just don't think there's any reason not to continue applying for this grant program. We're on the radar. It seems like it's a project they're wanting to see through the end. May take a while, but we need to keep our name in the hat to continue maybe qualifying for this funding.
We've came with it this far.
Yeah.
I hate to stop now.
And also council, general consensus on continuing the 15% match rather than the minimum 10? Yes, I see nodding of heads, yes.
Is there any chance that bottom line might change on their part? Higher?
as far as the cost estimate on the project,
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a chance.
Or do they normally add some? when
But
they're
they've,
done?
yeah, they've already added some extra in to be a little more on the conservative side. I'm not saying it's largely inflated, but I think that there's cushion in there.
With that being said, I'd rather stick with 15.
Yeah.
1.6 million is the max award for this grant program. So,
Well, council, any further discussion on the potential application for the airport improvement grant program? Failing any further discussion, any action on approving that application?
I move we approve that grant application with the 15% match.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the presented grant application for the Kansas Airport Improvement Program. Any further discussion?
You know if that's like the average cost for a runway that size, by chance, or?
I don't, I know, cost per square footage or however acre on asphalt, I'm not sure how they break that out, but yeah. I would assume it's pretty typical. Lochner is the airport consultant that we have been partnering with for quite a few years. And, they work with airports all over the country, and so, I lean on their expertise.
Oh, yeah.
Because as also an airport manager, sometimes I need some help.
Oh, really?
Further discussion on the Airport Improvement Program grant application? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Grant application approved. All right, we will throw our hat in the ring and see what happens. All right, one more item of business tonight, and that is just a wrap up of our 2025 financials.
Yeah, that's included in your packet for review. Nothing specific that I would highlight, but would take any questions. I also included a KPP Energy billing history over the last 5 years, just so you can see where we ended up for this year. And actually, our electric costs were less this year than last year, which is good. We came in just under $1 million at $963,000. So you can see what our billing has looked like over the last several years, just for some comparison. But for your review, and I take any questions, or happy to answer questions if you think of them later. Come in my office.
Did we transfer some money into that insurance fund, or is there something else that drives funds into there?
We actually did transfer some money in, or I should say what I did is accounted for it properly. We have had a CD for 8 years or better that has had it started with $200,000 in it, and it came out of that insurance fund, and that's not been reflected in that cash balance always. And so now that we have some other CDs, I'm trying to account for all of those, and so that cash balance looks like it went up 200,000, actually 221 is the current balance of that CD, but we just haven't been reporting that, so that's a great question, thank you.
So the CDs then now are reported set, like, this is how much is in CDs, but all those dollars are in the funds.
They're also included in that cash balance, so it's not double reported. So I just want you to know that in those cash balances, if we actually ran a cash balance report from our system right now, it wouldn't show that because some of that is in CDs, but I added it back in so that it's reflected in the cash balance, so it doesn't look like we had a huge loss.
It would show below in a secondary piece of that
Right.
report as the individual CDs, but knowing where we took that money from.
And I did include that at the bottom of the report, what those 3 CDs that we now have are and their balances. So we do have that one coming mature, the 12-month one that we've had for quite a few years that continually rolls over. And on the February 1st, I'll be rolling that into a 6-month one at a different interest rate. And so we'll see a little bit of change there on this report, but.
On that report, especially for that 200,000 from the insurance fund, it does kind of highlight the benefit of keeping some of our reserve funds in interest-bearing
Yeah.
accounts, because that's gained $25,000 over the years that
Correct.
we didn't have it in the CD, we wouldn't have.
Right.
Well, any other questions or discussion on the 2025 financial reports? Again, there's a lot of information there, so if you review that, have any questions, just encourage you to get with Stacy. I'm sure she can answer any questions you may have. All right, that does bring us to the end of our agenda tonight, or not the agenda, the item of business tonight. So we will move on to city staff reports.
I mentioned at the last meeting that I was applying to the KDHE Waste Tire Grant Program, and I did get that submitted for rubber mulch at the Bigwell Park Playground. And I anticipate they'll announce award notifications in April, so stay tuned. Last Thursday, KDOT and PEC were here to go over the current 30% plans for the sidewalk transportation alternatives funded project. And we went down and met with Brandy Walshman at the school and talked about some of the areas around there to get her opinion. And then came back here, looked at the plans, and then went out to a couple areas here in town that they had questions on. And so they're gonna take those comments and feedback and continue work on the design work for that project. Still looking at going out to bid, not till fall-ish, late summer. So it definitely has a lot of hoops to jump through, but it was nice to finally start to see some plans and what that will look like. And I do have those on my desk if you're interested in taking a look. Please stop by. Tomorrow, Thursday, I will be in Topeka for the Kansas Municipal Utilities Legislative Day in Topeka, and then a board meeting the next morning. I continue to serve as a member on that board of directors. And then next week, Christy will take her turn at the League of Kansas Municipalities Day in Topeka. So we'll both have an opportunity to visit with some legislators about different municipal issues. And then I was notified a couple weeks ago that I was appointed by the Kansas Water Authority to serve as a public water sector representative on the Great Bend Prairie Regional Advisory Committee. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity to represent municipal water in our area on that advisory committee. On Wednesday, the 28th, Kiowa County is hosting a community meeting that I've attached some information regarding on a proposed gas storage facility in the county. Although it's not proposed to have anything to do with the city, I think it would definitely still have an impact as it is here in our county. So I've attached that information about that community meeting. If you're interested in attending, and I don't know if the mayor might have any more to say about that, but the county is hosting that community meeting. And then I gave you some printouts from the League of Kansas Municipalities, some different trainings and services that they offer. They're a tremendous resource both to governing body members and to city employees for a variety of topics. So I encourage you to visit their website, and if there's ever any training, they do quite a few webinars and virtual trainings, but they also have some in person. There's one in April that I gave you some information on. If you're ever interested in attending, please let us know, and I'm happy to send you to or do a virtual training either way. That's what I got.
Questions for Stacy? Hearing none, we'll move on to governing body comments. I will just kind of jump on and what Stacy said about that upcoming community meeting about the gas storage project, just to give a little more background on it. It would be a storage field located just a mile or two north of Northern Natural. It is a little interesting in that it's different from most other storage fields in Kansas, which are liquid natural gas stored in porous rock formations. What this is proposing is to actually use water rights to solution mine caverns in the Hutchinson Salt Formation about 2,000 feet down that would actually store compressed natural gas. There have been some questions about the environmental and safety aspects of this project from the community members, which is why the commissioners have organized this meeting. We'll have experts from KDHE to talk about their oversight and permitting process for these types of projects. The project owner will also be there to kind of give an overview of the details of the specific project, and community members will have an opportunity to ask questions of either or both of them if they have any questions on the project. But it's an interesting thing. It hasn't been tried a lot in this area at least.
I have a question. Would it be possible on our spring to-do list or summer to-do list to go back and go around and look at some of the places where we have cut the streets to tie in a new service, like water or whatever, and find some of those places that have sunk, that need to be redone? Like over here on Garfield Street by that moderate income housing that's put in, those things have sunk about 6 inches or more in there. And see, I don't know how they would approach that, dig them back out.
Yeah,
a little
probably.
ways and
Probably have to dig them back out and go
not
back in.
completely, yeah, but
Yeah.
at least the asphalt part of it.
We spent good money on our repairs.
Do we have any other governing body comments tonight?
I know there's some street signs need attention, especially stop signs on Grant, east side of Main. They're faded, like, over there.
We are working on ordering new street signs. We've done an inventory around But on Grant and Main?
Yeah,
Okay.
both sides, eastern and westbound. Then, I had a citizen say something about the streetlights out on north end of town, but I can't remember where he said they were.
Okay.
I said Pennsylvania area and Sycamore area.
Okay. Yeah, just let us know if, well, I'll have the guys take a look. And,
I was gonna look for that.
yeah, I know that there have been some up there that have been out and have been fixed, and there were a couple they were having issues with, but, this may be different ones,
Yeah.
but I'll ask.
I think Mark had brought this up in the past. All of the west side of the streetlights along the highway on the south side, they're pretty rusty, and the paint's knocked off of those, but not the north side. Is that something, I mean, to me, something we should be slightly concerned about, and maybe have somebody monitor those?
We have been monitoring them and for
I don't know if there's something you can apply to them to
quite a few years, and
stop the rusting process.
pretty much from when they were put up. And what's been determined is that we think the salt and the snow being thrown up on those specifically,
Mhm.
and they get the
And the
sun
west side,
exposure on the west side as well. Structurally, I don't know that it's an issue yet.
I think structurally, they're probably fine now, but in 15 years, if we gotta replace
Right.
20 of them.
But the
Probably looks
question
better being painted again instead of.
has been, what is the best remedy that also wouldn't break the bank?
Yeah.
At one time, we were talking, do you take a couple down at a time, have them sandblasted, refinish them, paint something, clear coat, something to stop, try to stop that process?
I know they make rust inhibitors, and once it attacks that chemical reaction, it turns black. So I don't know if that's something we can look into. I don't know if it's worth it, cost-wise or not. But it's something I see all the time. I always think about it, but I never forget that.
Have we got all the light poles replaced that have been hit by vehicles and
There's one that still is not. We've been, it was snapped off very low, broke the concrete and the anchors, and have been
gonna have to have their concrete redone?
trying to ascertain what was the best way to do that, and working with a local contractor to try to figure that out.
I guess Nathan will know about the rest when one falls out the highway.
Yeah. I was like, when one goes, there's probably gonna be several of them that are close at the same time.
And you know, they say powder coat is the best way to do it, you know, it will not forever.
When that first happened, Stacy, right, they had like an engineer or someone come out and take a look to see if it was a factory problem that could be covered. And
We were hoping that that was the case, that powder coating should last longer than that, because they have been doing this for a very long time. But that was not the determination.
I wonder how thick those posts are.
Yeah, I haven't got
I haven't
to
got-
where you could see both sides.
Yeah. That would tell me whether to start being really concerned about it, or we've got a few years, or not. Thing about it is with them rusting right now, go in and try to paint them or something, the rust is already in the metal.
Yeah, you probably
It'll
gotta use
rust
some
underneath the
inhibitor.
paint.
Right, and that's been the conversation of what's the best
Yeah.
solution.
Like you said, it'd be you wouldn't want to break the bank, John T.
Right.
Any more discussion for governing body comments? Hearing none, that does bring us to the end of our agenda tonight, so we will adjourn the meeting.